was up. My other sister who lives in St. Charles was here.
I know, and
Yeah, it
I
was nice.
didn't know it was that
you're
bad.
walking
Yeah,
better.
log house down there.
I gotta
Hello.
make a note to call
Good, how are
facilities
you?
in the morning,
Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
because it says it's 3:30.
I heard you had a nice meeting today.
How are you, sir?
She's great.
And
Can't
I
complain.
Yeah, yeah.
I can teach you if you can.
Well, that's what, I was so surprised when I
It's
heard.
that's just a regular old
I've never met you.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna get up and do
I can go. I'll get it. Well, in between. I'll just go do
Do
it.
we have
Yeah.
batteries over in our car?
Terry will be here for the meeting. That's right.
She's a real dynamic person.
Do what? She said, did we need Jay?
Yeah, we're, believe me, when we went through that,
Yeah, I've been sick for almost 2 months.
I think we
Still not 100%, but I'm a lot better. Well, this was,
Let me go in the,
No, we are very much.
I was tested for everything, but it felt like the flu or COVID. And it just wouldn't go away. Yeah,
For like over 20 years.
no.
We need one more board member though. John was at the meeting last week.
Joe?
He was a little overwhelmed. Yeah, yeah. Well, they asked me. Yeah.
Could be.
We need someone on the planning and zoning.
I don't know.
No. I have, no, I have them out in the storeroom.
Not mine.
I don't know what to Oh,
Should I just go down there?
I think so.
Is she gonna be here? He's a he. Is he
Oh,
gonna be
good.
here?
Are you feeling pretty confident about it? Feel pretty confident about him being able to do the job? Perfect.
What'd you say? Oh, you're gonna go find a battery?
Yeah. Good thinking. Way to go. You look good, by the way.
I think I'm holding the chairman out here.
Oops.
Let's call the work session of November 27th to order.
Terry's not gonna be here. Terry's not gonna be here today?
Yep. It's all yours.
Does anybody currently have any questions on the budget or?
I think we have some elected officials who want to speak.
Mr. McCullough would be first.
Somebody come on forward. You would.
Michelle?
Actually, Mr. McCullough's on the, yeah.
Joe's first. Did I hear that from the back of the room?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Oh, Joe's first, my bad.
That's okay. Thank you for the opportunity to come before the board here and speak with you regarding the budget and some of the items that we put in for. So as you may recall, I was appointed by Mr. Elman on May 1st of this year to take over the prosecuting attorney's office, and it didn't take very long for me to realize that I thought that we needed some personnel additions to the office, just based on the workload that we had, and then the judges that have been added since we added any personnel to the prosecutor's office. So if you look at the budget, I think you'll see a couple of things there that we asked for, and the county executive and his staff put it into the budget, and we're just asking you guys to approve those additions. I think you'll see that there's one lawyer in there to allow us, they've added just recently a new division of 16, so that means that we need to cover some more courtrooms and stuff like that, that answer criminal dockets and such. Our caseload out here has increased immensely. And that, obviously, there was an uptick in crime there for a little bit. It's now in the downturn, I think, because of the prosecution steps that we have taken. Also because St. Louis County has decided to, appears that they've changed their philosophy a little bit, and they are pursuing prosecutions now better than diversions. And Mr. Gore that took over St. Louis City is also doing a great job down there. So I think that's all been reflected on that, but we still have a caseload that I think warrants an additional prosecutor. We also asked for a victim's advocate. One of the first things I wanted to do when I came into office was to put the victim back first, and make sure that they got the attention that they needed. When you're in a position like me that's been a police officer, that's been a prosecutor, been a defense attorney, you want to make sure that you don't lose sight of the fact that while this may be routine to somebody like me, it's the most important thing in the world to the victim. And we want to make sure that they have the contact that they need. So currently I have 4 victims advocates. Those are people that get in touch with the victim, let them know what's going on with the crime, what's going on with their case, when the court dates are, restitution, maybe somebody that they need to get in touch with, for any help that they might need. And so currently have 4, and when you break down the numbers with the contacts that they have with people, they were averaging over 50 contacts a day, whether that be an email, a text message, a letter, a phone call, or whatever the case may be. So 50, each one of those 4 people were averaging 50 contacts a day. So we had asked for another victim's advocate, especially that we can assign to the domestic violence people, so that we can get them the attention they need, the help that they need. Then we also asked for a, I'm going to call it a computer person. I can't remember the title, Mr. Crane.
Digital evidence manager.
What is it?
Digital evidence manager.
Digital evidence manager. So as we all know, every police department out there now has body cameras, dash cameras. We have all these Ring doorbells. We have all these business doorbells, these flock cameras that are getting that. So that's all evidence, digital evidence that we have to get, and then we have to turn over to the defense attorneys when they request it. We're also going paperless at the office, as well as with the police department. So all the police reports now come to us paperless, and we have to review them and issue the warrants and stuff like that. So we need somebody in the office that if we have a problem, we have a question that relates to that type of evidence and stuff like that, that they are there and available to us and can address the situation immediately,
Joe,
because it's very time sensitive.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't keep up with the Supreme Court rules so much anymore, but I think I saw something that there were some new rules concerning turning over evidence, digital evidence, and such, kind of trying to keep up with that. Are you aware of that, and is that going to affect how you need to get that information to defense attorneys?
As I sit here, I'm going to say I am not. I know that we need to get that evidence
Yeah.
to them.
I just know when I was on the bench, there were a lot of complaints about, evidence getting lost and showing up surprisingly near the trial date and getting everybody all up in an uproar. So I think that delays things. And so the other thing I kind of wanted to mention, just tag on to that, is how are we doing on getting rid of the backlog of some of these cases that, over COVID and the courts shutting down? I know there was a lot of backup on things. Are we working those things down now and getting cases tried as quickly as possible and getting people out of the jail?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to say that. I know this week alone, I think we have 7. Do we have 7 trials scheduled? I know 1 pled guilty today. We had 7 trials scheduled for this week. It looks like only 2 are going. The others have pled and stuff like that. They are a few years old. I looked at the case numbers and stuff like that, but some of that had to do with them being on the lam, as they say, and us not catching up with them until recently. So we still have 2 trials that are going to go this week, but I think those are from like 2020.
Yeah.
And as you know, that's a little bit long, but it's usually a year and a half to 2 years before something goes to trial in a lot of cases. So we're almost back to that number with regards to that. But the digital evidence, I don't think that we have any problems with that. Under our new system, we can, we're not downloading them on DVDs and stuff anymore, correct? We're just sending them
Yeah, that's a big change.
straight to them. So it's the problem of getting lost in our ability to keep track of it is much better now.
Yeah.
So that we know what goes out, and we get what we call reminders all the time that tell us what we've complied with and haven't complied with, and those get checked and researched and followed up on.
Thanks.
Are you still assisting St. Louis City with any prosecution cases?
Not with any prosecution cases. I still have a woman that used to be the first assistant down there under the I don't know if it would be 2 previous administrations now. You have Gabe Gord, you had Kim Gardner. Before that, you had Jennifer Joyce. She was the first assistant down there, so she is still helping out 1 or 2 days a month with regards to administrative matters, and getting, you know, the first assistant and the people in the office, the support staff and stuff like that. But she's there maybe 1 or 2 days a month, tops. What else? An investigator, I think we asked for an investigator. Currently, we have a chief investigator and 2 part-time investigators. We asked to get that increased, and the county administration has recommended moving one of the part-time investigators to a full-time investigator or hiring another part-time investigator. So we need that because, again, because of the caseload that we have and the trials that we're having. I would like to see an investigator at each of the trials that we do for evidence. You know, sometimes we ask the officers to bring down the evidence and then they leave the evidence there, or they don't bring the evidence with them. So I'm trying to put something in place that will make sure that our office is responsible for ensuring that the physical evidence is there when it is needed and gets returned. And so we recently ordered some lockers for each of the investigators' offices and stuff like that so that we can store it securely and properly as it should be stored. Is that everything? So those are the things that we asked for. The county executive and his staff approved most of our request. And so we're just asking the council to allow and approve that. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, or our staff is here, except for Mr. Brazel.
Joe, can I also add that under the previous prosecutor, there was a request to fund under ARPA temporarily a victims prosecutor, domestic violence.
Correct.
And we did that with the anticipation that it would then become grant-funded. As it turned out, when you all went for the grant, it required a 25% match, and so that match is in fact in here as well.
Yes, I'm sorry. That is true. They funded 75% of it. The county's required to do 25% of it in order to get the grant, and that is in the budget also, as Joanne stated.
So, Joe, the stuff that are you saying that there's stuff that you would like to ask for that wasn't included?
Well, I think our original request was for 2 attorneys and another investigator that wasn't granted, but what's been recommended by the executive's office is certainly, we're very happy with that.
So you don't have no further ask, is what you're saying?
I'm not asking for anything else, no.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
And Michelle McBride, you're up.
Good evening, members of the council. Thank you for this opportunity to address you. Last week, we talked a little bit, it wasn't really my turn, but it came up. For the most part, what I've requested, I've gotten included in the recommended budget, except for the fiscal manager position that I was requesting to assist with the implementation and ongoing reporting and ongoing processing of the senior citizen property tax relief. I had 80 years of experience and knowledge retire last July. I have 25 years retiring in March. If that staff had still been in place, maybe I wouldn't have a need for this type of person, but because that knowledge and experience has retired out the door, I really feel it's important that we have somebody at a fiscal manager level who understands accounting, who knows how to track, who knows how to put together statistics. And while it was said, well, we could always add that later, the process of adding a position to the budget later is much more difficult than having it provided for and allocated for and filling it. So I would respectfully request that that position be recommended back into the budget and approved in it, because this is a program that basically the council has decided to put into place, and I need the tools and resources to do it properly. So that's why I requested that in the budget.
Okay.
And then the other matter, and I don't know if this is the right venue to bring this up, but back in 2016, when the Managed Print program was approved by the council, I had been on record for almost a year saying that's probably not going to save money for my office, for sure. And I was told that I could come back to this council because I am responsible for my budget, and that money is being taken from my budget, even though I budget zero for it every year, because I'm still paying for all the supplies that my staff uses. And so I am respectfully requesting to be exempted from the cost per image aspect of the Managed Print program. I don't have a problem using the transactional. Basically, we're paying right now for cost per image plus transactional because we are not getting the cartridges when we need them. We have to have them on backup. We have to be ready to go. We can't wait till some outside vendor decides, okay, it's time for you to have a cartridge here, because that's too late when you have a hall full of people and you need to replace them. So we also have not gotten a report on the Managed Print, although money has been taken every month since March of 2022, over 18 months ago. So I know this is a budget meeting. I've got zero in the budget. They're recommending zero in the budget, but I would like that to be known that finance can't just take money from the collector's funds and pay to Managed Print, because we're still paying for our own supplies anyway. So there shouldn't be a charge for cost per image. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can we ask about how that program actually works?
We didn't know that that was coming up tonight, and Matthew's not here, but we can
Okay.
certainly get you a written explanation to you tomorrow.
That'd be great.
Because the contract was signed in 2016. It was a one-year contract at that time with a 5-year renewal period.
I
So-
remember how happy you were when that happened. I remember that conversation. So, yeah.
So,
I remember you weren't alone in that, being happy.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Michelle, as you know, nobody got everything they asked for, and you have every right to be here and ask for more, but where would you take it from? Where else in the budget would you take it from so you could get everything that you wanted?
so you're asking me to take from my current budget to fund something that is an additional duty that has been put upon my office by the county and this council? I'm just supposed to pull from my
No, I'm
12
just,
full-time
These people,
people?
as you know, spend a lot of time listening to everyone, and everyone comes in there, and just about I assume everybody asks for more than they end up getting. And it's
I
a
have
process
12.
of trying to do as much as you can for every department.
I understand
My
that.
point is, if you want us to do more for yours, do you have a place in the budget this should come from?
Well, I would think the General Revenue Fund, who was the onus behind creating the Senior Citizen Property Tax Relief Program. I have 12 full-time year-round people. That is it. Yes, we bring on about 40 seasonal workers for about 6 to 8 weeks.
But I thought we agreed we were going to provide whatever you needed as far as temporary
And I-
people for that.
Well, but this is not a temporary position.
Yeah,
It's
but this
not
is a
going to
person,
be-
this is because someone is leaving.
No,
correct?
this
I
is
thought you
because
said
of a
you
new
had people that are
program.
leaving that you couldn't,
I do have people who are leaving. What I was saying
but you
is,
said if they didn't leave, you might not have to ask for this.
but they have retired, they are retiring, and therefore, we need that skill set, and we need to have it provided for in the budget. When the property tax relief was approved as an ordinance, I was assured the tools and resources I would need to carry out and implement this program. So I put in the budget what I felt was necessary and appropriate to carry out that program. And now I'm being told, you get nothing additional to carry out this program.
Is that true?
Well, there's an account clerk 3 and a GSR 3 and a lot of seasonal money, specifically for the program. The only
Which we
thing
won't use if we don't need to.
Right.
My
The
office
only-
historically returns lots of money every year, but we have to have it allocated for, so that if it's necessary, it's there.
The issue was simply that the financial services administrator didn't seem to be a full-time need of the program, so we wanted to see how, when you planned the program, how it laid out. That was the reason it wasn't funded at this time.
Do you really think that we're not going to give you what you need when you realize exactly what you need?
Well,
Given
I'm
the popularity of
anticipating
this
what I
program,
need.
do you really think if you come in here and say, listen, you gave me this much, but I need 2 more people?
It will
You really
take
think
what?
we're all going to say, no?
Won't it take 2 council meetings for that to happen? And then a job posting? And then a hiring time period? It's going to be too late. I'm just being a realist. I have 12 full-time year-round people. That's it. We issue 350,000 tax bills. Yes, the majority of the real estate gets paid timely, but we historically mail out 3,000 or more delinquent real estate in January. If the software company doesn't come through with software in time to implement this program, we're going to be manually calculating these credits and applying them to these however many out of the 36,000 estimate that I've been given via the election authority and the powers to be's estimates. I'm just wanting to provide for so that we're not in a crunch and pulling our hair out. That's all I'm trying to do, is provide for what reasonably can be expected out of this program.
I'm just trying to make everybody understand that we've got some people here, as you know, and you spend time with them, and they spend time with everybody, and it's a tough job. And yeah, it'd be great if we could just give everybody everything they want. You know, I've got to defend some of the decisions they've made here in terms of this department versus that department. And ultimately, the decision will be up to the council, but I just needed to make sure I understood that, and I want to reaffirm my promise to you that you'll get what you need.
Okay.
And by the way, have you heard anything about what's going to happen on 190 from your organization?
What was said at MAC is that they are going to try to get the legislature to memorialize that it does affect all political subdivisions, which is how our ordinance is written, and that it is not retroactive, that the earliest base year could be 2023.
That's what we heard, and that's good, because those are the 2 things that we really care about in our bill. So that's the good news.
The other disappointing part of this is I didn't realize the fiscal manager was gone from the recommended budget until I pulled the budget off the internet. So that was not disclosed to me in advance. If we had to make some adjustments in other budget lines, that could have possibly happened. I have been busy getting the tax bills prepared, and I was going to give and will give a public service announcement and update on all of that during open comments at the meeting. I worry about having the need and not being able to fill it at the time we need to fill it, because
Hey, Michelle,
my office is the end of the line all the time.
you have a government services 3 and an account clerk 3 that is in the budget.
Those are
That's-
clerical, those are clerical.
Those are
Basic-
additional people, though. So what specifically are you looking for, and when do you expect to need them?
I am looking for a fiscal manager
Okay?
that would help with the reporting, that would help with the tracking, that would help with quote-unquote marketing maybe to other counties who are beginning now to think about how are we going to know if they're getting this in another county.
Right,
We've
but to be
already
fair, this
started
is-
a file of
I'm just
other
trying to understand,
states.
this is one position
Yes.
that you're talking about, in addition to what's there. You're looking for one other position, right? Do we know what that job description looks like?
Yes, I submitted it to HR.
We
Okay.
don't know what the process is yet, though.
We don't know what the process that this fiscal manager is going to have to follow is, or what the department's going to have to follow. When do we expect to know what that process is?
Probably not till February, because we're going nonstop people today, and we'll have nonstop people until the end of December, and then we'll be finishing mail for about a week to 2 weeks and getting out the December distribution with all of its special anomalies, and then we'll be able to start focusing more heavily on the Senate Bill 190.
Okay, so we're expecting to start on the process in February, or you're going to
We're
need that
expecting-
person in February,
We're expecting to start accepting applications in March.
in March?
So if
Okay.
we're going to have this person as one of the spearheads of this program, because everybody else already has a full-time job. I mean, if you ask how many account clerk threes there are in finance, and if you look at the number of people in finance compared to the number of people in my office, it's a lot larger,
No,
full-time year-round.
I understand what you're looking for. I'm just trying to, based on what the county executive is saying and based on what you're saying, trying to back into, if it's not in the budget right now, when would you need it? Because you just went through, here's the process of hiring the person, right? Obviously, there's lag time and then coming on board. So I'm just trying to understand,
Well, is February?
what would that lag
how mu-
time look like?
How much longer ago, how much further away is February? I mean, you're only talking 3 months.
I understand. I was just trying to make sure that they knew they had a job description and all that stuff was already done.
And we can send the job description to the council
we'll
so
send
that
it
you
to
have that.
Yeah. So that's part of the thing that I was just trying to make sure that in the event that we do move this ahead, do we already have that stuff already done? So that's the only thing I was asking about.
Last question, Mr.
Yes.
So if you get that additional person, is that going to be good enough then? Or were you still going to come back if you need more?
That's why we added additional hourly assistants, because we have, just as we
Yeah,
have to
but I
hire
mean, I think we
seasonal.
all agree you're not really sure how many people you're going to need on a part-time basis.
We anticipate calling back the seasonal workers
Okay.
who work over
But
Christmas.
you understand where I'm coming from? We agreed we're going to meet your needs when we know what they are. You're saying you already know what they are and you want us to meet them now. So are you still going to ask for more people if it turns out you're wrong?
I don't anticipate needing to ask for more if these are approved.
But if you do, are you going to?
Well, if we can't process and get them on the tax bills, something's going to have to move. I do enough 24-hour days.
Thank you.
Okay, Michelle.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion regarding the 2024 budget?
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah. Bob?
Only if you have questions about it. We just furnished you with that information today as some background to whether or not a request is going to be made of the council to consider that. We wanted you to have the background information. So that's,
So,
it's really for
well,
your own edification. If you'd like to talk about it, that's fine. I don't have anything really to present about it. I think the information is pretty straightforward there, just to give you an overall view of that
yeah.
proposal.
I think you know that I had a contact from a deputy juvenile officer who was questioning whether or not they would fall under this provision for the retirement. And I did talk to Joanne about it, so whatever information I had, I just relayed back to that person, and I haven't heard back from him, but I take it that this has something to do with that fact, that the juvenile officers are not being considered law enforcement.
Right, they're not mentioned in that information because they're not eligible. Right.
Okay. I thought it was actually up to the counties to make that determination. though.
It is.
Okay. When you said they're not eligible,
Oh, no, the DJOs are not eligible for that, are they?
Are you talking about for the early retirement?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say, John?
Four. I don't believe they're mentioned in that bill.
Yeah.
I'll look and make sure.
Okay. I have to admit, I didn't read the bill, but I was under the understanding that they were being included by some political subdivisions,
Well, then they may be considering them as correctional officers under the bill.
right? Okay, all right.
I don't believe they were included in our study, though.
No, they
So
were not.
that's going to increase.
Well, I heard that there was some estimate of a really high number that the county would have to pay in the event that they were included in this early
It's almost 4
retirement.
million over 10
Yeah,
years,
Right, so.
Not including juvenile.
not
Yeah.
including
Yeah,
juvenile,
I got you.
Right.
Okay,
for 185 people.
yeah, okay.
I don't have any further questions at this time.
Nobody else does either. We'll just, I guess, take a recess till 7.
I guess, Dave, what is the plan on the budget? Is we're just gonna address the stuff that you have posted on there? Is that how we're doing it? I guess, like, when you say there's any other questions, we're talking about questions that we'll go through each, you'll post what we're talking about, so we only talk about those items. Is that what we're doing?
Well, if you have questions about anything, bring it up now.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but like if we had a questions of a certain department, they're not here, so I don't want to be unfair, you know, I just, is that what we're doing? I mean, are we going to post, like next time we have a meeting, are you going to, like here we got McCullough and some other stuff, are we going to say what we're talking about? So we're prepped for it a little bit, rather than bouncing around? And I'm just asking, I just want to know.
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about. I mean, I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I don't even know what you covered, so.
Okay.
If any other topics come up for discussion, we have another meeting yet that's a scheduled budget work session, and you can let us know. So I think this session was originally intended for any elected officials who wanted to come and talk about their budgets. We had 2 show up, obviously, here. But, you know, we have another time slot if that's the wish of the council to continue and keep the door open for other budget topics. But at this point, we don't really have any to.
And if you have them before the meeting, you know what you'd like to know, let us know, and we'll prepare information about whatever it is that you have questions about.
Yeah.
Well, like I
Otherwise,
said,
we're here to answer your questions.
I put out an email several months ago to the council, and probably, I think I included you guys, but I will not fund the election authority until he fulfills his freedom of information, which he hasn't done yet. And Mr. Baker sent him the same questions. He hasn't done that yet. There's been different organizations that sent the same questions, which he's not answered yet. So I don't even know how he can do that by law, not answer the questions, because I'm wondering if he's getting legal advice from our county counselors telling him not to provide it. And I don't know that. I just don't understand how he can do that, because when I talked to our council, I'd asked, don't the county council get represented too? Well, the answer is the county is represented, which is in the best interest of them. So I'm just wondering why this information hasn't been provided. Is he taking the fifth? Is that why? Because I still believe in what I believe in, that these questions are very pertinent to what I asked and why I'm asking them, because maybe it would self-incriminate him. And so that's why I will not fund the election authority until those questions are answered, and it's been ignored since May. So I'm just making a point so everyone knows that that's exactly the way I feel on that, and it's just completely wrong that he's not answering any of our questions. So, and that's that, but that's not for a debate right now. I'm just letting everyone know.
Are there other questions about the budget?
Do you have any other questions?
No.
Well, hearing none, we'll take a recess till 7. I think you did a good job on the budget this year.
Thank you.
Team effort. Thank you.
Oopsie.
Okay, folks, I'd like to welcome you to the County Council meeting here of November the 27th. We will begin the meeting with an invocation that will be given by Reverend Darrell Gray, pastor of the Greater Fairfax Baptist Church, and that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Tim Baker. Please stand.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we come before you calling you by many different names. We call you God and Jehovah. We call you Elohim. Some call you Allah. We come, Lord God, recognizing that you are the author and the finisher of our faith. So tonight we pray for wisdom. We pray for strength. We pray for courage to do what is right and what is good for all people. May we put the interests of others above our own. May we act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, and may we recognize your image in everyone that is gathered here and those that we represent. We submit this prayer in all the name of all the saints and sages. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Matt Swanson. Councilmember Joe Brazel.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Elam.
Here?
Councilmember Terry Hollander.
Here.
Councilmember Dave Hammond.
Here.
Councilmember Nancy Schneider.
Here.
Councilmember Tim Baker.
Okay. We have a conditional use permit that's been tabled. I don't see any motion or movement to bring that off the table. So we will go with public comments. Just a couple of things about public comments. You need to have a card signed, of course. We also limit discussion usually to 3 speakers for, 3 speakers against a certain topic, but today we have a lot of interest in the resolution, so we'll go ahead and double that number, okay? We'll allow 6 for and 6 against, and I believe they'll alternate back and forth when we get to that topic. Okay, Claire?
Michelle McBride.
So if I lay this here, this should appear up there, is that right?
It will.
Okay.
It's magic.
I'm here tonight to give you an update on the 2023 property taxes. What you see on the wall is the breakdown of the taxes that I have been charged to collect this year, a total of $855 million plus dollars, breakdown of almost 855 million, yeah. Total of about 137 million in personal property and another 718 million in real estate. And the pie chart shows which entities get those various funds. This is a combination of both real estate and personal property. Just to give you an example, a lot of people wonder, you know, where do my taxes go? So I thought it was very good to show this to you tonight. And the thing that differs on a tax bill between individuals is typically the schools, the fires, the municipalities. So also I have a breakdown here by the various school districts, in case anyone is curious as to which school district is getting how much. And we also have our cities that the county collector collects for. Again, this year we are collecting for the city of Lake St. Louis. Historically, the city of Lake St. Louis has collected their own tax, but this year we are collecting it on their behalf. And then the various fire districts in the county. So there will be a lot of money coming through our office, payments coming through our office, I should say. The bills appeared online over this holiday Thanksgiving weekend, so we had a full office most of the day, a lot of phone calls. The first drop of mail went to the St. Louis Downtown Post Office today. We will continue to drop through Thursday. All of the original bills will be out at that time. Couple reminders, if someone looks online and they don't see a personal property bill for 2023, it's most likely because there's no assessment form filed, and they can file that at the assessor's website, assessor.sccmo.org. So if someone looks online, doesn't see a 2023 personal property, they need to get that assessment form filed. The second thing I want to remind people is that if you pay online, it's not going to show paid immediately. It will show paid online after we process the payment in the collector's office, usually the next business day, or for e-checks the second business day. So when you pay online, it's going to show pending for a day or two until that payment is actually updated in the official tax database. And the third reminder I wanted to make is January 1st is an absolute delinquency date. Bills are not due by December 31st. They are delinquent on January 1st. December 31st is a Sunday. So don't expect to go mail a bill on December 31st. We have to have a United States Post Office postmark based on state law in order to credit it for December. So if you're going in on Saturday, December 30th, walk into the post office and insist on seeing them stamp it with that date in front of you, because otherwise it's when we receive it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Arnie Dinoff.
Mr. Dinoff.
Good evening, members of the County Council. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate. And a couple things I just want to get right out of the way before I talk about the resolution. Public service filing begins this a week from tomorrow, Tuesday, December 5th at 8:00 a.m. for the County Water Board, School Boards, City Council, and Fire Boards. And so I'd ask people to get involved. And why are we buying $43,000 of Durangos as police vehicles times 4, $171,000? I get it. We had 6 collisions with deers, but this is a lot of money for a vehicle. So I would ask that we look at buying some more realistic vehicles for our police department. Bill 5243, more taxes, 0.25 of 1 cent. Let's eliminate or decrease this amount of sales tax to 1/5 of 1 cent. All St. Charles County families pay 53 to 54% of their income to federal, state, county, local, and special taxing districts. St. Charles County families do not pay themselves until July 15th. Stop taxing we the people. On the resolution, we again have Member Swanson who's absent. I'm amazed at the hate that can be written into County Council resolution on immigration. I'm amazed at the thought process of my elected fellow citizens sitting before me. I am angry and ticked off at the lack of discussion and debate amongst all the County Council members. Some of you had the guts enough to speak out at last meeting 2 weeks ago before the Thanksgiving break. A resolution on immigration in which the county has no power, no authority, no oversight, and this resolution means a hill of beans. This resolution means nothing. The resolution is for Congress and the national government to understand and take on, not county and local municipalities of St. Charles County. I am shocked at the sponsorship of Councilman Swanson and Hammond, along with Councilman Brazel. You were duped and told fallacies. St. Charles County is made and established from immigrants and people from all over the great world.
I'm not sponsoring.
All of the immigrants granted access who are coming to our nation have been properly vetted, backgrounds checked. There are no felons, no gangs, no drug dealers from South America, or any Latinos who are going to cause undue rest and harm to our region or to St. Charles County residents. These are human beings who are persecuted and driven from their countries to seek a better, wholesome, stable life for their families and themselves by contributing to Chicago and St. Louis. This resolution again needs to be withdrawn, and in lieu defeated, needs to be rewritten immediately, as a substitute amended resolution does not do justice nor make any sense.
Thank you, Mr. Dinoff.
To the
Mr. Dinoff.
Can I just have
No,
10
you're 3
seconds?
You're 3 minutes up, so.
I ask that you vote this resolution down.
Thank you.
Don't make St. Charles County a mockery.
Thank you, sir. Next. Claire?
Alexandra Johnson on Resolution 2308.
Okay.
Muy buenas tardes. Good evening. May it please the council, and I'm trying to not say, may it please the court, having recognized Judge Schneider, before whom I've practiced. My name's Alexandra Johnson, attorney at law. My mother was Latina, a professor at St. Louis University for 52 years. If you had Spanish before 2014, you probably talked to my mom. I'd like to put here before this thing, if we could get it on the wall. I know that the resolution has been cleaned up, if you will, to resolve and address some of the concerns that were brought to your attention. As an attorney, an officer of the court, as a mother, a person born and bred here in St. Louis, other than a few years and traveling abroad, I'd like to tell you about the impact of actions such as this. Even though it has been cleaned up, you've clearly elicited a response, and the reason for that is because of the environment of hostility that can sometimes be created, even unintentionally. Intention is one thing, and impact is another. As a mother of children, I am trying to teach them Spanish. My mom was a linguist. I'd like to pass on that heritage. And I have, at Six Flags, at Forest Park, and in other environments, had to switch to English because it felt like a hostile environment when I was speaking to my children. Not only when I say hostile environment do I mean criticism or comments from afar, but to the point of, even on one occasion, putting one of my children behind me because of the aggressive tone and demeanor of the gentleman that was saying things to us just for speaking in Spanish. So when a municipality that has no control or role to play in federal immigration policy takes it upon itself to apparently fail to Google some of the organizations involved, you create, however unintentionally, and contribute to a hostile environment. I don't need my full 3 minutes to say that I would ask that prior to taking on any further action of this kind, you educate yourselves. I ask this respectfully as an officer of the court, as a citizen, as a voting member, not a resident of this, but of this St. Charles, but definitely of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Donna?
Dwayne Jansen.
Good evening, County Council. I believe that we have some things that we need to look at here. I'm not so sure this is a county issue, as I believe there are state and federal laws that and mandates that can deal with this. However, I do want to bring it to the county's attention that I believe we have enough problems here, not regarding the types of people that live here, but overcrowded roads that we struggle to maintain. Already overcrowded schools, both private and taxpayer funded. Some of these are understaffed. Many of them, we already have bullying problems going on. Let's not forget about the shortage of bus drivers, teachers, and food staff and other employees. Trying to place homes and businesses in small, every square inch we can. We already have high tax dollars that keep going up. Increased crime, understaffed police department, as well as those in municipalities as well. Shortage of dispatchers for fire and EMS. Increased and serious drug issues. Who's going to pay for the housing of these folks? There's a lot of questions just in talking with some of the people tonight that are not, we have a lot of questions. how are they going to get a job if they don't have a social security number? Do we temporarily assign one to them? What's their process for going and becoming a legal citizen of the United States, and who's going to follow up on that? You know, once again, let it be clear that I have nothing against Hispanic or Latin American folks. I've seen some of these people outwork me. So that is not the issue, and that's not where I'm trying to go. But part of the county's oath tonight is I will faithfully execute the office of county council and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and the state of Missouri and the charter and ordinances of St. Charles County. And that I will demean myself faithfully in the office of St. Charles County. While St. Louis may have a different oath of a lesser well-being, I expect to see St. Charles County to do better if we're going to do something with this. You know, up to $30,000, or 30,000, I'm used to talking about dollars, 30,000 people a month. That's a lot of people.
Thank you, sir. Claire?
Gabriella Stout.
Buenas noches, miembros del council. Good evening, members of the county council. My name is Gabriela Baeza Stout. I'm the president of the Hispanic Bar Association of St. Louis. I'm here on my own behalf as the officer of the Hispanic Bar Association of St. Louis and in no other capacity. Before I continue, I just want to make clear that any legal immigrants have an ITN number that allows them to pay taxes. So legal immigrants here pay taxes. That's the purpose of having legal immigration in this country. With regard to the Resolution 2308, the Hispanic Bar Association maintains its position that the individuals entering this country under the Department of Homeland Security's program referenced in the resolution enjoy legal presence in the United States under existing law. While it is true that a coalition of 20 states initiated a lawsuit against the DHS and other federal agencies challenging this program, this case went to a 2-day trial in Texas in August, and the judge that heard this case has yet to make a ruling. He has expressed that he was uncomfortable with issuing any temporary order in this case that would suspend the parolee program, since there are U.S. states that say the initiative has benefited them. This is the first time in over 7 years of history of the immigration parole statute that a parole program is challenged in court. And if the court were to rule in Texas' favor, this would be the first time that a parole program like this one, has been struck down in the United States. Our view is that we should not be taking away any freedoms that are currently sustained by good law in the United States. Instead, we should recognize and embrace the real benefits that the citizens of this country and immigrants stand to gain from programs like this. We therefore call this council to reject this resolution that could potentially incite violence, division, xenophobia in the community. Thank you.
Amen. Claire.
Bill
Claire.
Eigel.
Senator Eigel.
Good evening, council members. I'm State Senator Bill Eigel. I've represented Eastern St. Charles County for the past 7 years, and I appreciate your time tonight. I want to make one clarification that this resolution is not a question about whether or not you support lawful legal immigration. This resolution is about whether or not you oppose the illegal introduction of illegal immigrants into the United States. Now, according to the Missouri Attorney General and the Attorneys General of 19 other states, they believe, as I do, that the Department of Homeland Security is violating our immigration law and are working against the Joe Biden administration, who has sought every opportunity to allow illegal immigrants into this country and into this state. Now, my policy on illegal immigrants has always been clear. Don't let any more illegal immigrants in, and send the illegal immigrants that are already here back over the border. Not because America doesn't welcome lawful immigration, but rather because the unchecked tide of illegals into the United States leads to chaos in America. This chaos is directly the fault of President Joe Biden and other liberal leftists
Folks,
who refuse.
folks, this is not a participatory thing, all right? Senator Eigel, please respect each speaker. Senator Eigel, you can continue.
Who refuse to defend our laws. And the cost for Missouri is devastating. Indeed, according to the Heritage Foundation, the cost of the more than 11 million illegal immigrants already in the United States is nearly $1,000 per household per year. With over 51,000 illegals already in the state of Missouri, that amounts to $2.3 billion placed on the shoulders of Missouri taxpayers each year. To put that in perspective, we just heard a presentation about personal property tax. Well, the value of every personal property tax for every citizen in the state is about $1.7 billion. So I think you could probably guess whether Missourians would choose to continue funding illegal immigration in the state or eliminating personal property tax. Now, what's more than about the fiscal cost? What about the criminal cost? According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection official, tens of thousands of crimes are committed each year by illegals, including thousands of violent crimes. In St. Louis City, where the Department of Homeland Security is hoping to add to the problem, crime remains a persistent challenge. St. Louis City already leads almost every statistical category in violent criminal activity. Illegal immigration, fentanyl distribution, and human trafficking rings are using St. Louis City as a gateway to other communities. And if we don't oppose the federal government's efforts, led by President Joe Biden, to make matters worse, things are going to just get worse here in St. Charles County. A lot of people seem amused by the idea of standing up for the law. And that's unfortunate.
Appreciate that.
Heidi Sawatsky.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies and county executive. My name is Heidi Sawatsky. I have been a resident of St. Charles County for almost 40 years, and I have been a small business owner in this county for almost 20 years ago. 5 years ago, on a trip to Cuba, I met and befriended a young Cuban. She has a bachelor's degree and speaks perfect English. She's married and she has 2 daughters. In the past 10 months, she and I have been trying to find a way for her to escape the persecution and miserable living conditions in Cuba. Her whole family, including the 2 little girls, live in fear of the Cuban police. Now, refugees have a couple ways to enter this country. One choice is to hire a coyote, cross Central America, and arrive at our southern border and illegally cross the river or sneak across the desert. Most are apprehended by Border Patrol and processed at a detention center. Those are most likely the people you see on the streets of Chicago and in tent cities. She and I both agree that this is not an option. But since she's Cuban, she does have another option, and that's called humanitarian parole. As a result, in March of this year, my husband and I submitted a form to apply to be her sponsor under the very same DHS program that is cited in Resolution 2308. We had to submit copies of our tax returns, proof of citizenship, and a written plan of how we would help the family settle into the U.S. Next, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services will run a background check on us and on the family of 4 that we're sponsoring. If and when we clear that process, the family is required to fly to a U.S. international airport and be interviewed by Border Patrol there. If admitted, they will be granted a 2-year parole and be eligible to apply for work permits immediately. She would like to be a teacher, and her husband would like to work in the building trade. I know that this council values the contributions of hardworking legal immigrants. If you approve this resolution, however, you will be opposing the very program that allows this young family and many others to come to the U.S. legally and contribute to the community. The resolution assumes that the beneficiaries of this program are illegal immigrants because of the pending legislation. That is just not true, and it's based on faulty logic and ignores innocent until proven guilty. The lawsuit challenges the process used to admit the parolees into this country, not the people. Based on the evidence submitted, the judge has already denied the state's request for a temporary order, saying he was uncomfortable issuing any temporary order that would halt the program nationwide. I do not see a need to halt the program locally while litigation is pending when the judge himself did not feel comfortable doing so. All evidence was submitted by October 27th, and the case should be decided soon. Regardless of the outcome, the decision is likely to be appealed. Let the courts do their job, and St. Charles County will obviously follow federal laws. This resolution does not address the problem you see in Chicago. I urge you to vote no.
Claire?
Michael Gomez.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, fellow Americans. I'm Michael Gomez, immigrant from Colombia, and here, let me tell you this. What happens to the immigrants from Indonesia? What happens to our veterans that are on the streets, that don't have anything to eat, that are having PTSD? Why don't we take care of them first before we take care of illegal immigrants that are just crossing the border? To all of you, how about you house them yourself? Before, I will personally fly them here so you can house them in your houses. Whoever's holding a sign, if you want to meet me, hey, if you want to meet me after, and I will make sure they fly to you and you stay and you host them in your house, hey, we're going to test that out for 3 months and see how that works. But why don't you do that first with a veteran who served this nation, who took care of you and defended your freedom? Why don't you do that for them? And what happens to the people in other countries from Malaysia, from Australia, from Indonesia, from people from North Korea that can't just cross the border? Come on, people, this is 2023. We are fighting an open border that Joe Biden and the radical left, like all these people holding signs, have put on. And let me tell you this, all of these people, I bet they have pronouns, right? Now, kids nowadays are questioning their gender.
Sir, let's keep the topic on the topic that we have and not personal attacks, okay?
Thank you. And so let me tell you this, as a patriot, somebody who's come here, who's achieved the American dream, who speaks multiple languages, who attends an Ivy League master's education at Columbia University, all of you holding signs about welcoming illegal immigration, you and President Joe Biden are killing the American dream. So all of you holding these signs, you guys are hypocrites. Hypocrites that are not willing to host veterans that are on the street. And all of you can do is just say, illegal immigrants are welcome here. That's not the truth. That's not what should be happening in Missouri. And under Valentina Gomez, we will make Missouri great again. God bless America. God bless.
Thanks, sir.
And here, let me tell you one more thing. And Donald Trump will come back and make America great again.
Scott Tate.
Just, folks, I need for everyone to calm down a little bit, okay? Allow people to have their say. I don't appreciate anyone making references and innuendos on folks. Go ahead and speak on the topic, and the topic is very simple. Sir? Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name's Scott Tate. I'm President and CEO of the St. Charles Regional Chamber. The mission of the St. Charles Regional Chamber is to advocate for our business community by developing opportunities and partnerships that strengthen the economic prosperity and sustainability of our region. Whilst upholding the constitutional laws of both our state and nation will always remain a foundational part of the St. Charles Regional Chamber, the board wishes to acknowledge the economic benefits of growing our region's workforce by welcoming those who wish to become a contributing member of our region. The St. Charles Regional Chamber opposes Resolution 2308, introduced by members of the St. Charles County Council that expresses opposition to an influx of immigrants into the region. If Homeland Security's humanitarian program operates within the rules, regulations, and laws of our great state and nation, then the County Council should, with open arms, welcome those who wish to call St. Charles County their home. The St. Charles Regional Chamber Board would also support outreach program offered by our local International Institute, an organization that has been successful in transitioning immigrants into our communities for decades. Our stance is rooted in a deep understanding of the invaluable contributions immigrants make to communities. Immigration is not merely a demographic shift, it's a dynamic force that fuels growth, fosters diversity, and addresses crucial workforce needs. Beyond the cultural benefits, immigrants are driving force behind local economic prosperity. They fill crucial gaps in the workforce, supporting the needs of businesses and contributing to the overall vitality of our local economy. Studies consistently show that immigrant entrepreneurs often establish businesses that create jobs and stimulate economic growth. By restricting immigration, we risk stifling the dynamism and innovation that these individuals bring to our community. Moreover, immigrants frequently inject fresh perspectives and talents into various sectors, making our community more resilient and adaptive. The resolution by the County Council overlooks the positive impacts of immigration on both social and economic scale. Census data shows that St. Charles County, the Hispanic Latino population alone, increased by 54% from 2010 to 2022 and created 10% of the county's overall growth in the same period. These new residents contributed taxable income, sales tax, workforce, and business to St. Charles County. The St. Charles Regional Chamber firmly believes that fostering an environment that welcomes immigrants is strategically beneficial for the long-term prosperity of our community. Thanks.
Valentina Gomez.
Good evening, everyone, council, and ladies and gentlemen. I'm Valentina Gomez. I am running for Missouri Secretary of State. I'm an investor in the area, and I am here because we have the Modern Travel Agents, Hispanic Leaders Group, the International Institute of St. Louis, and also the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, surprisingly. These individuals are facilitating and incentivizing the collapse of Missouri. We haven't learned from Chicago, we haven't learned from New York, we haven't learned from Texas. How is it possible that we're putting our people on the line to face this amount of individuals that we don't know where they're coming from? I'm Colombian, but I can assure you that we have to make sure that the entrance in this state and in this country is lawful. And none of these entities can attest to the notion that these immigrants have all followed their due process for legalizations. So you guys want to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion? Fine. Start with U.S. citizens and start advocating for crime control. What's going on in St. Louis City? The highest homicidal rate in the country, in America. How is it possible that we're going to bring 30,000 and plus individuals that we don't know where they're coming from to this state? You guys are about to ruin this entire state, and you guys cannot allow these people to bully you. We have to stand up and fight for our U.S. citizens. You guys took an oath, each one of you took an oath to serve us, to serve the state, to serve the United States. And it is a disservice if you guys don't do this. I don't need the 3 minutes. I'm Valentina Gomez, and you have my full support. I'm going to fight with you, and I can assure you the U.S. citizens are going to continue to fight with you. Thank you.
Daryl Gray.
Good evening. I heard the young man talk about veterans. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, Vietnam veteran, honorably discharged. I've been a human rights activist for 50 years. I've been an ordained minister for 40 years. I currently serve as the social justice coordinator for the Missionary Baptist State Convention of Missouri, which is about 250,000 members, many of them who live in St. Charles County. So I'm not somebody who just decided to slide by. I had members of our congregations, members of our convention that asked me to come by. It's interesting that I hear the words of the people that have come before me, particularly from Columbia. I'm curious, this motto, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuge of your teeming shores. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. I guess that only fits for European countries. That's what concerns me. I fought in Vietnam. I wasn't drafted, I volunteered because of freedom, because of liberty, because of democracy, because of our Constitution. I fought overseas for this flag. I don't think that y'all are racist, but I think that this resolution is racially insensitive. And I think that you need to look at that. I grew up in South Carolina. In 1963, when my father got out of the Navy after 25 years of serving honorably, he went to South Carolina, bought a home, and somebody burned a cross in the yard. We were in a white community. They burned the cross in the yard. They didn't want us there. I grew up with segregated signs. I grew up with white only, black only. I grew up around all of that stuff. And I never thought in 2024 that I would be hearing in 2024 anybody talking about a resolution, a piece of legislation that discriminates, that is prejudice, that is bigoted. How are you going to paint everybody that comes from Mexico with the same brush? Then do it for Canada. Do it for Germany. Do it for England. Do it for France. Do it for Italy. If you're going to do it, for those who come from south of the border, you have to do it for all the borders. This is a bedroom community. And what I understood a bedroom community to be, you continue to build more rooms and more rooms and more rooms that people might rest and be comfortable. But y'all building a castle with giant walls. And you're blaming St. Louis. You're blaming what? Black folk? Brown folk? That's who you're blaming. And I get it. You're afraid. I understand. That's where racism starts. Fear, greed, and ignorance. Thank you for your time.
Claire, do you have anyone else?
Maria Yakish.
Good evening. I appreciate the time that you're giving us, and I am here to talk about, I'm a Bolivian. I was living in a country that had constant turmoil. I had a sponsor. That was able to put the money and their whole life in front of them, in front of all the governor bodies, so I could be here. I am now a U.S. citizen. I have 2 masters. I have gone to school. I have raised 3 children that are also professionals. And they are creating a better community for our world. I am never broken the law. I have not committed any crime. I pay my taxes. I have done my share to build this community. I was a public school teacher in the St. Louis city. So when we talk about crime, let's talk about education. Let's talk about the rules and regulations that this country has built on in considering those people that did not have an opportunity to be better. The reason there's crime in the city is because they don't have a job. They don't have education that was limited because of the way United States was brought. We all came, all our immigrants came with the idea that the Constitution really said that it was a land of the free and opportunity and that they respected all men. I'm sorry. But when I arrived here and I started looking, that is not the truth. We have redlining. Now I do real estate. And I understood that redlining and how much prejudice it created and how much it hurt our country. Not just St. Louis City, but all our country. And we're still having those regulations, and you want to put another one that is going to hurt us more? My children have moved out of the city. They are afraid to move into Missouri because we have some regulations that are not very welcoming. And a lot of the people are in the same situation. How are we going to make our country, our county, and our city bigger if we do not welcome differences, if we don't welcome those people? Kansas City is going to outgrow us. They are having a much more welcoming environment, and St. Louis is going to just be falling behind. We are even going to lose even a seat in the government. Is that what we want? When we talk about politics, let's look at the whole picture. We need to support our immigrant community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
That was
6 against and 4 that supported, but the rest are against the resolution.
We got
We've
one
done
more that's-
6
One more
against.
that's for the resolution?
We don't have any more in support of.
No, you had like 8 against, like 3.
Yeah, okay.
We've had 6 against the
Yeah,
resolution.
I think we've exhausted the topic to this point. I know that everyone would like to speak, and I understand that. But I think the council has a pretty good idea of how the people that are here tonight feel on this issue. And then, of course, we'll discuss it, you know, when the issue comes up.
That's fine,
Thank you.
Speaker.
All right, moving on, our next order of business is an oral report from the county executive.
No report this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Next up is the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and approval to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the consent agenda has been passed as. Okay, next up is resolution number 2308.
Resolution number 2308, a resolution opposing the importation of illegal migrants into the region.
I'd like to make a motion to put the substitute resolution in 2308.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of replacing Resolution 2308 with substitute Resolution 2308, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so now we are discussing the substitute, which is a second. Mr. Brazel, would you like to lead us off?
Yeah, I'll go first. A lot of the folks who are out here talking about.
Oh, just a second here.
What?
Technically, it hasn't been removed from the table yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to remove Resolution 2308 from the table. For discussion.
Okay. I have a motion to remove this from the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we will do a
I need a
motion.
substitute, motion for a substitute bill 2808, whatever.
Second.
2308.
2308, yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the substitute amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we're in order here. Okay.
Okay, I'd just like to start, a lot of folks who came up and talked are not even speaking on what the actual resolution says. The woman, the attorney that said you put that up there, that's not even, it doesn't even say that anymore. Because I will admit, the first resolution was written poorly and needed some clarification. What we're talking about is the Homeland Security, the parole program that they came up with, and in the eyes of 20 other states, it's an illegal process because it didn't go through. If you guys, if most of you up here don't feel that we should follow the Constitution or follow our legislative act, then that's a whole nother story. Now listen, when you guys got up there and talked, I noticed when the conservatives talked, you all were booing and hollering, and no one else did that to you, so don't do that to me, okay? So be respectful, because we're
paying attention to
Sir?
Yeah, good, go on.
All right, folks, please, folks, we believe that we've given you folks your time. Now it's the council's time to discuss this, okay? Please, that is enough. Mr. Brazel will continue with this, okay? Make your point.
And the fact is that some of these signs out here say no humans are illegal. It tells me that those signs, you're just saying that you don't think there should be any immigration laws in this country at all. And so the fact is there are 20 states in this country that the attorney generals are suing on this program because it didn't go through the legislative act of Congress. We all know that. So if you think that's okay, and any administration, whether it's Trump or Biden, that they can just do whatever they want without the act of Congress, then we're living in an upside-down world because we're not following our Constitution. So that's what this says. It says that we're following our Constitution, and it didn't go through the process of the legislative act of Congress. And they signed a policy in immigration when it's supposed to follow federal law. It has to go through the process, and that's what it says. Okay? And for you to come up here and say that, well, my grandmother was entered into the country and all, that's great. My parents, I'm 92% Irish. My grandparents came from Ireland. It's great. I mean, that's what we should do. We should support immigrants when they go through the federal process that the Congress and the Senate and the House made the Constitution on. And that's what this is about. So a lot of this stuff that you're talking about is emotion, and it's not even based on the law or based on the facts. So let me go through some things here. What the resolution says, the Attorney General of the state of Missouri joined in with 20 other sovereign states and filed a lawsuit on behalf of their respective states seeking to enjoin the federal government from implementing a program wherein the plaintiffs argue the said program was unlawful under the Administrative Procedures Act. And it goes on to say there's other points of the law that it's addressing that not one of you folks even talked about. You just talked about that illegal immigrants provide positive to our community, which they do. That's never been the conversation. It's about the federal government not following the Constitution and the law. Each of the law's three limited factors. It is a not case-by-case basis. It's not for urgent humanitarian reasons and advances no significant public benefit. And there's hundreds of thousands of aliens to enter the United States who otherwise have no basis of doing so. We have a progress. The folks that have been around here that are from other countries, been here for a while, you followed the legal process. This is not the legal process, and that's what this is saying. And there's 20 other states that believe that we're on good standing here.
30 that don't.
You know what, I didn't interrupt anybody else. And gentlemen, you're the pastor, you made some interesting points. You said that, and I appreciate for what you do, and I do, but you said that it's prejudice that it says in here, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and whatever the four countries are. If it wasn't prejudice, how come we're not letting in people from Ireland or Italy or other countries, like all of them? Why wouldn't it be the same for everybody? Why is it limited to four countries, in which four of them are, or two of them are communists? Why wouldn't we do it for everyone? Wouldn't it be equal for everyone? I mean, if it's truly a humanitarian effort, why wouldn't we just do it for everybody? And the other thing is that bothers me about this.
Are you asking me that question?
No, I'm not. I didn't. No,
Because I was going to ask you. It's because
no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to follow our house rules.
I didn't know if you was asking me.
No, I appreciate that, but no.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing is you talk about the funding on this. Do you know that the program, I believe it says that the sponsors are supposed to fund up to 2 years, and that this program is for 3 months. It's not even, if you think this program is legitimate, you're not even following the way the Biden administration wrote it. It's supposed to be 2 years. You're funding it for 3 months. That's what it said. It said you're funding it with housing and you're funding with cell phones for 3 months. Well, who's going to pick up the slack after the 3 months? Are we just going to turn these folks loose? I mean, how's it going to work? We don't have a program, and the crime in St. Louis is horrific. They got this one. The crime in St. Louis is the worst in the country. Let's be real here. And what about all the other homeless people in St. Louis? The people, like Mr. Gomez said, the other veterans and these other, we're just going to throw them to the curb and not do anything about them?
Folks.
I'm just making a couple points. I didn't interrupt your guys' points. So anyway, the point is this is based on illegal immigration. There's a lot of folks who don't believe the process was followed by the Constitution, and that's what it's about. It's not about not welcoming immigration into our county. So get that right. And these signs that are saying there's no such thing as illegal immigrants, that just tells me you don't believe in our Constitution or laws anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
That's a picture right there.
Miss Nancy, any?
I'll go.
Mr. Ely. Folks, I will
Sorry
say
to interrupt you guys while we're having a public meeting, but if you'd like to go outside and carry on your conversation, you're more than welcome.
I will.
That's great, but it's Mike's turn right now, so I appreciate if you give me the floor. Are we good?
Can I say one thing here?
Yes, sir.
Folks, I know you're passionate, but there is a fine line between being passionate and rude. Okay? And I think we all are on that line a little bit. All right, so let's allow Mr. Elam to speak, and we'll go from there. Okay?
I'll be quick because I think most of the points have been made this evening. But I would tell you, I think this is really nothing more than political grandstanding. And I say that because we're a county council body, right? So if you don't know what St. Charles County Council does, we're basically the governing body of unincorporated St. Charles County. That means if you live in the city of St. Charles, St. Peters, O'Fallon, other municipalities, we have very limited powers of what we can do, right? None of those include immigration. Zero. You don't have to applaud, right? I'm not going for that. I'm not the guy looking to be on TV tonight, but they're here anyway, right? So part of the thing that I would tell you is I travel all around the region and do a lot of stuff. I'm a very active guy, right? So I run into people from all over the region. I've seen Senator Hawley's people, I've seen Senator Schmidt's people, I've seen Congressman Luke Temeyer's representatives and Congresswoman Wagner's representatives. All four of them have a vote on immigration policy in the United States. Absolutely none of them asked me, hey, Mike, what does the county council think about immigration? What do you think we ought to do? That's not an issue for us. The state legislature has already spoken on this. If any city declares themselves as a sanctuary city, they put their state funding at risk. That's already done by our state leaders. They've already spoken on this. So we're waiting for the feds to do something, and I think we would all like for our federal leaders to lead a little bit more. Our state folks do have the ability to have some influence over state immigration policy. Part of this was brought up, there's a lot of talk about the city of St. Louis. Last time I checked, as a county council member, I have no authority over the city of St. Louis. But what I did notice was when this got introduced, the mayor of St. Louis did a press conference. So if the sponsors of this bill's intention was to speak out against bringing folks who are undocumented individuals into our region, I think this had the exact opposite result, because they did a press conference, and from what I understood from that, they're open to people coming in. It had absolutely nothing to do with the International Institute and what they've done. I appreciate the International Institute hosting me last week, doing a tour. I learned a lot. So one thing I would say about this resolution is I've gained a great education as to what this program is, how this program works, how a sponsorship program works, and what are avenues for people to enter into our country and into our community legally. And I appreciate the fact of what legal immigration has done for our community and for our region. The St. Louis region is losing population. I believe the last time we grew was 1.9%, and that was a couple of years ago. So we're going in the opposite direction. The city of St. Louis is at 265,000, I believe, population. It's the lowest population they've been at in about 150 years. People aren't dying, for a lot of the reasons Mr. Brazel talked about. People aren't dying to come to St. Louis. That Meet Me in St. Louis thing kind of went out with the 1904 fair. We haven't been back to those numbers since the 1950s and the 1940s. We've got to figure out a way to right the ship. When I was in the Navy, to graduate from basic training, you had to swim 200 yards. You had to go 200 yards because if the ship is sinking, it creates a vortex, a riptide, if you will. And as the ship sinks to the bottom of the ocean, it pulls everything around it down to the bottom of the ocean with it. A lot of folks that I talk to in St. Charles County say, I don't care about the city of St. Louis. Let them drown. I don't go down there anymore, and I don't want to have any part of it. No, you should care, because that is a sinking ship. We need to right the ship. I don't have a vote on what the mayor does and what the Board of Aldermen do. That's up to them, but I don't want to be a negative influence on the region. I want folks to want to come to St. Louis. We have a lot to offer in this region. We need to focus on the positives that we have. We need to figure out a way to turn it around. I think St. Charles County is a leading county, not only for this region, but for the state of Missouri. We have the highest median household income. We are the healthiest county of the state. 42% of our adults have a bachelor's degree or higher. We are healthy, wealthy, and wise compared to the rest of the state of Missouri in St. Charles County. We have something to bring to the table for the region. We can be a positive influence for the region, but we got to get to the table to be a positive influence. Resolutions like this, as you can see in this room, does not represent a positive aspect. We need to be a positive voice in the region. We need to take a broader view, and we need to get to the table, and we need to make sure that we are being that voice that you want represented, that is a positive sort, that rights the ship, stops it from sinking, and turns our region around. With that, I see the beginning of this resolution and the end of this resolution. I understand where they're trying to go. The middle of this resolution, I think, conflates the issue completely. If you would have just done the top and the bottom, 95% of folks, maybe not all of you in this room, but 95% of folks would prefer that our borders are secure and people come into the country legally, and they bring in the skills and the attributes that are needed. From what this lady was talking about, how she came in, bringing positive attributes to this, a willingness to work, an education, talking about the folks that Heidi was saying and bringing a family here. Joe brought up, some of these are communist countries. Well, of course they're wanting to flee a communist country. People are dying to get out of Portugal, right? I mean, people are talking about going there from the United States. So, yeah, that's where they're going to come from. I think a lot of these whereases are misleading at best. I brought that up in the last time. I think it got cleared up better than what it was before, but I still think this resolution leaves a lot to be desired. I hate the way that it paints St. Charles County. I was at the East-West Gateway luncheon earlier this month, and a friend of mine, a Republican elected friend of mine, walked up to me and said, "Man, things must be good out in St. Charles County, that you've figured out all the local issues and solved those, and you've moved on to national immigration that you can solve." I said, "Man, we've got issues in St. Charles County that we need to solve. This is not one. I hope that the immigration issue will get settled at the federal level, but in the meantime, I was elected to be a county councilman. So I plan on addressing the issues that are affecting St. Charles County that I can have a voice over. We later at our last meeting said, I don't know how you're even going to enforce this. The problem with resolutions like this is the majority of people don't understand that a resolution has no binding power. But when a government body passes anything, the expectation is there is going to be an element of change that comes from it. Otherwise, why would you do it? You wouldn't waste taxpayer and staff money to do something that didn't do anything, would you? That's kind of where we are. So when you inject yourself into issues like that you have no power on, you send a misleading message to the public because they expected when you passed that, it was changing something. It's not changing anything. I'd say the good news about this is I got a lot of folks to come visit St. Charles County who wouldn't normally be in St. Charles County. I would tell you, we've been the fastest growing county in the state of Missouri for 25 years. We have a home for you here if you want to come to St. Charles County. We would love to have you folks who have all ventured out here. I have real estate friends that I can introduce you to. With that, I will yield my time back, but thank you all for coming, and I appreciate your passion on the issue.
Councilman Snyder, please.
I'm not as eloquent as Mike Elam. Let me just say that this whole resolution is unnecessary, unneeded, not under our authority. I said no 2 weeks ago when it was first introduced, and even though it's been amended to make it less offensive, I still say no tonight.
Anyone else?
I would call the question.
Okay. All right. We will now proceed to vote on Resolution 2308.
Substitute Resolution 23-08, a resolution opposing the importation of illegal migrants into the region. Councilmember Swanson? Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
No.
Councilmember Hollander?
No.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Schneider?
No.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Resolution fails because we need 4 votes to pass any type of resolution. Is that correct?
Which one of the sponsors wasn't here, but that's okay. That's the way it is, I know, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
That's the rules, that's right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Correct.
We will now move on to bills for introduction, and if you folks would... Bill for final passage, I am sorry. We have one of those. Yes, we'll take a 2-minute recess for anyone who wants to leave. The rest of this agenda is not very exciting.
If you want me to move to St. Charles, don't propose racist ass resolution, please.
I didn't.
Let me see your town
That's a Black Lives Matter. I'll be a member of the show. See, they just have no belief in America or the Constitution.
Did they say the border was I don't think so. Things are changing, folks.
They recognize it.
It should have never started, really. It did nothing but cause us all to look back.
Hey, Bill.
How are you? There was no reason. Glad you picked up the focus. There was Sandman's bacon. Because thank you.
Brazel, yes.
I asked Don when he was running for the county council.
Wait, you what?
I asked him if he was running
Working on it. Working on it, Cheryl. Saying something else. That's right.
Okay.
Bill,
It's
good to see you. Jim was on the understand that's all. That's all. That's anytime you want to do this, you know, Bill,
I think that's a true statement. Good to see you.
He had his knee surgery.
Thank you. All right. Be fine. Let's get started.
Good to see you, man.
Folks.
Let's roll.
Folks, I'd like to call this meeting back to order. Those of you that are leaving, I certainly appreciate it. We have one bill for final passage.
I can read loud.
You want me to? Ready? Ready? Go.
Okay, we will continue with the meeting.
I can read loud. Want me to start?
Donna, go ahead and call. Okay.
Bill number 5243, an ordinance providing for the
We need to get those people out of the road.
You're up.
An ordinance providing for the reauthorization of the capital improvement sales tax to be placed on the April 2nd, 2024 ballot for a vote of the people.
Could someone please close the doors there? We're almost.
automatic.
We're almost there, yeah.
Can you shut the door? You want me to?
We can't close them.
This is literally a pain in the neck. Can we just like calm this down here?
Okay. I think we're close. All right. We do have one bill for final passage, Bill number 5243. I believe Donna has read it, but I believe we should read it once more. And we'll get-
Absolutely. Bill number 5243, an ordinance providing for the reauthorization of the capital improvement sales tax to be placed on the April 2nd, 2024 ballot for a vote of the people.
Okay. Any questions or comments on Bill number 5243? Seeing none, we will please call the roll.
An ordinance providing for the reauthorization of the capital improvement sales tax to be placed on the April 2nd, 2024 ballot for a vote of the people. Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Hollander?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Schneider?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker? Yes. Councilmember Swanson?
Okay, Bill number 5243 has passed. We have several bills for introduction, beginning with Bill 5244.
Bill number 5244, requested by Chief Kurt Friz, sponsored by Terry Hollander, an ordinance authorizing the St. Charles County Police Department to execute documents for receipt of grant funds in the amount of $83,877,000 from the Missouri Department of Social Services for Child Sexual Assault Investigation Services.
Okay, questions or comments on 5244? Seeing none, we move on to Bill number 5245 for introduction.
Bill number 5245, requested by Chief Kurt Friz, sponsored by Terry Hollander, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a memorandum of understanding to allow for the appointment of certain employees of St. Charles County as team members to the Missouri Region C Incident Support Team.
Questions or comments on 5245?
What does the incident support team do?
They're an emergency management team that supports if there's been a major event in Region C. So we put people in, the other jurisdictions do, and if somebody has a major tornado or flood or something, a truck blows up on the highway and there's a need for more personnel than that jurisdiction has, we're a team and we band together to support each other.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other comments? All right, Bill number 5246.
Bill number 5246, requested by Amanda Brower, sponsored by council as a whole, an ordinance approving the transportation improvement plan for fiscal years 2024 through 2026 and corresponding intergovernmental agreements.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, we have no other tabled bills. Are there any announcements or miscellaneous? Let me make one announcement to those folks watching. Because of the altered schedule because of Christmas, the council will meet again next Monday and then again on December the 18th, rather than second and fourth We will be meeting on the first and third Mondays of December. Mr. Brad.
Yeah, I'd just like to announce to everybody that we do have our Christmas parade this Saturday down in Defiance. It's our 15th annual Christmas parade. Scott Lewis and Chief Fritz will be leading it we got the Marine Color Guard to do a 7-gun salute, and we have the police, the St. Charles County Police Color Guard as well, and they always do a fantastic job. So everybody's welcome down there. That the proceeds all go for the Defiance town, for the street lights, the park maintenance, stuff like that. So that's where the money goes. So it's a non-for-profit situation. So come on down. It's a good time. It's good family fun. So looking forward to it.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the council?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, folks.